Welcome to this episode of Behind the Boxer. Today we are interviewing Sam. How you doing?
How you doing, man? Big Sam Arnold, S3's dad, uh, coach for Atlanta Attack. I've been coaching boxing for probably about 15, 16 years. No, longer than that, probably about 17, 18 years. Uh, I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I coach the Atlanta team, the Atlanta Attack team here in Atlanta, and also I live in Dallas, Texas. So I coach my son Samuel Arnold III. His name is S3. I coach my nephew Malik Lark. I coach my other nephew Randall Kennedy. They were all participants in a team combat league as well. Um, so yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's what's up. So, in your opinion, what is the most important aspect of boxing training for a beginner?
For a beginner, the most important aspect of boxing training, in my opinion, is first of all getting conditioned in order to be able to do the exercises that's going to be required to get you far in boxing. After you condition, then you can learn the basics. And I think it's about learning the basics, doing repetition over and over and over. There's no set style in how you can coach boxing, but whatever you teach, you got to make sure your students or fighters understand exactly what it is, so you're able to deliver when it comes time when you're in any type of competition or fight.
That makes sense. What mental strategies do you recommend to stay focused and confident in the fights?
So boxing is something that you want to do is like no other sport. Just fortunately, they came up with a team combat, but this is the first time that boxing has been in a combat sport, like in a team format. But normally, boxing is a lone sport. You run alone, you train alone, you fight alone in the ring. So normally, it's nobody right there with you. So the mental aspect of staying focused has to be um, you're gonna lock in and you're gonna do whatever it takes to become successful, regardless of who with you and who not with you. And also don't switch up your team too much. Keep the same coach. Y'all go through ups and downs together, but still keep who coaching you and you've been successful with.
So, tell us a little bit more about team combat and how it came to pretty much change the game.
Well, Team Combat, it was made by a guy named Ahmed and Mark and Coach Dewey Cooper. Uh, Another portion of that is a lady named Belinda. And Team Combat is a concept of like 18 fighters on a team, and with 18 fighters on the team, they represent. It started off at 8 cities and it ended up with 6 cities, which was Dallas, Atlanta, New York, DC, uh, Las Vegas, and LA. So Team Combat, it's a one round concept. Uh, each fighter they start for females is like 126, 130, and for the smallest weight for males is 135, and it goes 135 is like the old school weight classes 135, 147, 160, 175, and then heavyweight, which is like 200 and up.
So, what were the preparations like getting ready for that?
The difference in team combat and any other thing is you don't have the time to just like isolate one fighter and get them better. So you have to come up with a strategic, organized format. The best thing to do in boxing on in this type of sport is like on when you add the team concept to it, is to create a systematic practice, and you create two of them and you do them every other day. So meaning one day you might do strength and conditioning and more conditioning. The other day you might work on boxing and boxing conditioning as a group. So it wasn't the same as the it wasn't the same like traditional boxing where you can go back and zoom in and correct a lot of different things with your fighters. But the main thing that we did, we made sure our team was in shape and we made sure that we were prepared and we had everything in order like we needed to have it in order, which proved to be successful because we made it to the first Mega Brawl, which is like the Super Bowl in team combat.
So, what was the experience like actually just making it there? Because that not everybody got to do that.
Yeah, the experience in making it to the Mega Brawl, it was a really dope experience, man. And it was a thing to where a lot of people get caught up on names, but people don't get get a chance to know the work behind what's going on. I've been putting in work a long time and traveling on my own dollar. Nobody ever gave me nothing for this sport. So a lot of times I'm not a person that's flashy, and I wasn't really good at Instagram, but my track record speaks for itself. My son won 7 national championships. My nephew won 4 national championships, and then we always any tournament we went to, we were either gonna win the tournament or we competed. So I've been doing a lot of stuff in boxing in my own journey. My other son who stopped boxing, he was ranked #1 when he quit boxing. So my journey in boxing been wonderful. Like I say, I'm attention detail. So anything I do, I'm gonna put my all into it. So I'm always gonna create a system for it. So uh, going to the mega brawl, to sum up the question, was a person like me wasn't expected because I didn't have a big social media name. You know what I mean? And we went against big name coaches, Barry Hunter and the team Goosen out of LA, and you know, Coach Dewey Cooper. But it was proven uh, just by based off of what we did that we were just as good as they were as far as coaching and preparation.
So let me backtrack a little. How did you? When was the first time you decided you wanted to be a coach?
Well, actually, coaching was passed down to me. My father used to wake me up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when I was a little kid, get up, hit the mitts, push ups, and all that kind of stuff. And I started it. And then I didn't get as further as I wanted to. I started coaching football. I was like one of the most winning youth football coaches in my city. And then after I always knew when I had sons, they were going to box. Football and boxing like my favorite sport, but boxing overall is my favorite sport. So I knew my son wasn't going. I didn't want them to play football for a long time. I already knew I wanted them to box. So I already kind of created a strategy before. You know what I mean? So I came up with a system and it worked.
And what do you feel? How do you feel boxing sets itself apart from the other sports? Like, what do you like better about it?
I like boxing because it's isolated. When you coach team sports, especially at the youth level, you deal with a lot of different parents and stuff like that. So I like boxing strictly because you can focus in on who you need to focus in on, and it don't take too much detail, and you control more of your time. It's not an organization that you sign up for; it's an individual thing. That's what I like about it the most.
So, being a coach, what are some common mistakes that you see the boxers make that how can we avoid them?
The most common mistake that boxers make to me is stopping and starting. That's the most common mistake they make to me. This ain't a thing that you can stop and start. It ain't a season with boxing. It's always be prepared. So if you get a call, you already ready. If you ready, you don't have to get ready. So some people make the mistake on not staying ready.
Makes sense. Tell us about that's a little bit more about your son.
S3.
Mhm.
He a wonderful kid, man. He actually was on the opposite team of mine in team combat. He was like 15-0 in team combat. He didn't lose a single round. He started 19 years old. He turned 20 years old in the season. He got all the work ethic, and he got the humbleness. He's not a cocky kid or anything. To become a world champion, we just gonna keep taking it fight by fight. Uh, Preparation, every fight at a time. You know what I mean? So we're not gonna just jump and throw him in the world championship status now, but he is ranked 25 at his weight class and stuff like that. So with the people that we working with, it's gonna be possible to make it happen. It's just gonna depend on how we prepare for it.
And what's talent like in Texas?
Uh, Texas, honestly, I'm from the Midwest, so the Midwest is more um black boxers, slick styles, fast speed, in and out. So that's more so what we used to. Texas is more of a brawler style boxing, and it's kind of a lot of the history of boxing is from like the Mexican community. So I think honestly, with all the wonderful things Earl Spence did as a fighter, that kind of brought a little bit of attention to Texas. But but the style in Texas is different from all the other black cities. Like all the other black cities, not a big black population in Texas. So it has never been like a real, in my opinion, from what I've seen, a real good black coach that teach a slick style in Texas. It's just come forward and try to throw hard punches. So it's a lot of stuff that kind of get left on the table. But at the same time, nobody is more gritty than Texas. They're gonna keep coming, keep coming. Whether you fighting a Mexican fighter or a black fighter from Texas, they're gonna come forward and try to put pressure on you.
And how would you say you assess a boxer that's ready to move up in weight class or to get at a higher level?
Say it again.
How do you assess when a boxer is ready to move up in higher weight? To get at more
But actually, the assessment comes from their body and how their body feel out, and how easy you can make the weight. So the assessment is basically like unnatural. It's a natural thing. It's not something that you try to press and squeeze because your body gonna tell you when it's time to go up and you can't make the weight anymore.
And what important qualities do you feel every coach should have?
I think the most important quality, in my opinion, is not everybody's opinion. Everybody different, but you got to be able to relate to people, and you got to be able to break stuff down and make it simple. So you got to find smart ways of having people receive it, and then you got to learn people's personalities. Some people you can yell at and get more out of them. Some people you got to talk soft to and make sure they understand and walk them through things a little bit longer, but you still get the same success.
Makes sense. And what's your approach to injury prevention and recovery in boxing?
Prevention, just as much as you work hard, you got to rest and let your body naturally heal. Also, a lot of things that boxers do is so a lot of the injuries in boxing come from you not having your hands wrapped properly, come from you pulling something from running. So you got to stretch, you got to be limber, you got to wrap your hands, you got to protect the most important parts of the body that's going to involve boxing. And you definitely need to practice defense because even though getting punched is portion of boxing, you try to get hit less as possible so you can last long. That's why you got people that's successful like Floyd Mayweather who's still walking around doing exhibitions and stuff like that based off of him not really getting hit. So those are the important pieces when you're talking about taking care of yourself and taking care of your body in boxing.
Where would you like to see the future of boxing?
Um, I would like to see more champions fight champions, and then also, like I said, we mentioned the team combat. I would like to see more teams in team combat, and I like that format, and that should be the introduction, in my opinion, for younger fighters who's leaving the amateurs and they want to get their feet wet in the pros, but they're not ready to do a 4, 6, or 10 rounder or 8 rounder yet. You know, try out for the team, make the team, and then get a feel for how it feels to get punched in the face with no headgear. Then you go from there and figure out what you want to do.
And where do you see yourself in the next 5 years or so?
Next 5 years, so I believe in manifestation and I believe in writing things down and making sure they happen. So my 5 year plan, I know for sure I want my son, I want my nephew to be a household name. I want to be a household name through team combat. I want to be a household name through regular coaching of boxing. It's a lot of good boxers, a lot of older guys that's boxing, that's coaches now. So now I want to, when they start getting older, I want to be seen. I want to work with a lot of pro fighters. I want to get better at my craft and better in teaching. So I see myself as becoming a top, level coach.
And where can we find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at Young Kings Boxing. Young Kings Boxing on Instagram. It's spelled just like how it's supposed to be spelled. No twist to the spelling, so it's simple for people to find. And if any boxers want to come out, go to camp, get some good sparring, you know what I mean, get a change of scenery, come and holler at me, man. Come and check us out.